Welcome to my off-grid adventures. I'm Frank, this is my puppy Pumpkin, and we're glad that you're here with us today for this video about how to add a winter storm window to your RV, especially RVs that just have single pane glass. This RV is rated as a winter package, and I was hoping that that meant it had double pane windows, but it doesn't. And you can tell in the wintertime. So something has to be done, and one of the most common things that people do, which I've done the last couple of years, is to put Reflectix insulation that's cut to size and just kind of pieced in to each of your windows. And I do that for all of the other windows in our RV. This year even, I wrapped the outside of our slide out with Reflectix to add an even extra double layer of insulation there, and it's made quite a difference. But there's one big problem with Reflectix insulation, and that is you can't see through it. And one of the main reasons that I choose to live in an RV is because of the location of it. We have 60 acres of off-grid property in Michigan that's just beautiful. And I like to be here year round and enjoy the scenery out there. So does Pumpkin. She loves to stand up on this love seat and look out all day. I wanted to improve upon what I used last year, which is just that thin, shrinking, clear plastic that you put up with double-sided tape. And although that worked to maintain visibility to the outside and it did provide some insulation benefits, it was not super durable. It wasn't thick enough to provide a lot of benefit of insulation. And since Pumpkin often pushes her nose up and likes to paw at the window up here, it didn't have the durability that I was hoping to have. I did a lot of research and thinking to try to figure out a solution that I'd be happy with. Maybe more than I should have given to this project. And I ended up finding this double-sided tape that is strong, removable, and water resistant. And it resembles that kind of gummy stuff that they attach your credit cards to when they send you a new one in the mail. It's very similar to that. And I discovered this on a YouTube video, and I went and picked it up at Lowe's. They had this. It's about $10 for each of these packs. You really only need 2 if you do it right the first time, but I didn't, and I'll show you how to do it the correct way. But I needed 4 because I had to redo the project. The other thing that I found at Lowe's was a piece of plexiglass almost exactly the size of this window. I measured this window to be 29 by 59, and they have a piece of plexiglass there that is 30 by 60. So I do wish the plexiglass was about an inch wider and taller, but it worked on this Keystone Springdale. This is a 2018 model. So let's go through the steps. I'll show you how I did it wrong the first time, and then show you what I learned and how it worked with my second attempt. The first step is simply to remove the screen portion of the window and set that aside. Then, in order for the plexiglass to fit flush against the frame of the window, you need to remove the 2 knobs that open up those 2 panels. And thankfully, when you take a Phillips head screwdriver and back that screw out, the knobs come off and it is just perfectly flush with what you need to be able to place the plexiglass on it. I was a little worried that it might stick out too far and I'd have to figure a way to drill through or cut out a portion to make that work, but that wasn't necessary. The next step is to clean these windows. In my case, I haven't cleaned these all year, so I took a minute to do a decent job, not only cleaning the glass, but the frame and all of those components around it. And then I went outside and cleaned the outside of the window as well. Now it's time to install that 2-sided tape. And this is where I made a couple of mistakes. The first one was by not being careful to make sure the plastic backing stays on. You're going to need that backing because you want to be able to press firmly against the frame of the window to secure it to that window and a part of the wall. And you can't do that when both sides are sticky. So you need to make sure that as you're applying this, the backing stays on. It took me quite a while to carefully fit this to the edges of the window, and that was largely because of the problem with the shade falling down. It wouldn't stay put, so it just became quite a hassle for me. This is where I made my fatal mistake. I removed all of the plastic backing to that tape, and then tried to just in one attempt put the plexiglass in position and press it into the right spot. But this is too difficult to do. It's hard to get that exactly where it needs to be, and it is a precise fit, so you can't have any wiggle room here. You need to make sure it goes into the right spot. What I should have done, and what I did do for my second attempt, which was far better, was to apply the tape to all four edges of the frame again, but then only remove the plastic backing from the top edge. And then once it's in place at the top, you can pull it out some and remove the tape from each of the other three sections, and then you can press it into place. This worked really well, and it would have saved me a lot of time and about 20 bucks worth of wasted tape. The plexiglass has a film that you need to remove from both sides. I'm really impressed with how this looks. It looks really good. It's clear. You can see just perfectly outside. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It was frustrating to do by myself, but I'm glad that it worked out. I'm glad I was able to get that positioning right on my last attempt. It looked like it was going to be sketchy there for a while. And overall, it wasn't that expensive of a project. The plexiglass was about $60. If I had only used the 2 rolls of tape that were intended to be used for this, that would have been an additional $20. So about an $80 project for this. And if you know what you're doing and you follow the steps of my second attempt, I think you could do this in about 15 or 20 minutes. So overall, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm very happy with it. It was a frustrating experience for sure as I fought it the first time, but learn from my mistakes, and hopefully you'll have a better experience yourself and can enjoy RVing in the winter wherever you are. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more content about living off-grid in Michigan, please subscribe. We'd love to have you join us. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.